from the mud. There's dirt on my hands. Strong like a tree. There's roots where I stand.
And we're live. Check it out. Good morning, good evening, and good afternoon. Joe King, the motherfucking king, is with
Yeah,
us. We
hell
got
yeah.
so Joe King, so this is a glass blower up in Washington. He's infamous for making really badass rigs. Um introduce yourself, bro.
Oh yeah, Joe King. Porn, porn on glass, right? We like porn.
Who doesn't like porn? Porn is a reason that you have credit card machines at the grocery store. Do you guys know that? Yeah, a
I did
little
not
fun
know that.
fact. Little fun fact. People wanted to buy porn on the internet, and that's the whole reason credit card machines like even became big from cash is
What?
the porn industry. Yeah, people selling pornography on websites. It's
That's
pretty
wild.
cool.
I know that it had a lot to do with the birth of the internet. I
Uh
didn't know
huh.
it had to do with the credit card machines. That's a fun bit of information.
Yeah. Well, we were talking earlier, and the reason, just so you guys know, like the reason I wanted Joe to be on the podcast is because like he and I have like kind of the same way of thinking as far as like where the country's going. I also wanted to talk glass. We ran a little bit short on time due to like technical issues and shit. And but with what what were you talking about earlier? It was like all the all the crazy bullshit with like the possibility of us losing our rights and like for instance to just to start with like the bare basic minimum is like being canceled on like cancel culture like Instagram. Like the
Yeah,
king, he's got a Instagram page that's been canceled how many times now, bro?
this was the first time it's actually been shut down, but I've been like taken off of all the Explorer pages multiple times and been put on like can't post for a couple of days or I've got so many warnings. I got so many warnings that I just thought they weren't going to do it. You know what I mean? They warned me so often. I was like, they're not going to do this shit. I'll just stop editing my shit, just show the whole. And next thing I knew, they just shut it down.
Yeah, that's wild. And it's not even Instagram doing it. It's like it's just people pressing the report button, and then the social media companies, some of them, most of them, like Instagram, Facebook, which is owned by Facebook Group, they ban it out the gates, and then they'll give it back to you after reviewing it by a human within like 18 months or something crazy if you're disputing it.
Yeah,
So it's not even it's peer-to-peer canceling, which everyone has haters, and that gives the haters complete control. So you can't ignore the haters, and then they make it to where like you have to appease like every group of society and bend for them to prevent from being canceled and getting that report button pressed. But it's almost impossible to do because like you're gonna offend somebody and somebody's gonna hit
yeah. They keep
report.
raising the bar. They just keep raising the bar. You know what I mean? But I think more than anything, cancel culture is like designed to get people used to seeing people just disappear over their content or their beliefs or whatever. Just when you don't like something somebody's doing, you're used to them just disappearing. Even though right now it's just you're disappearing off the internet, but they're getting people's minds prepped to be just used to going, that person thinks wrong, so get rid of them. And then boom, you never see them again. And they're getting people ready for that. You know what I mean? It started, in my opinion, it started with PC culture back in what, the 80s or 90s. You can't say retard, you can't say this, you can't say that. And that was just their way of getting us to police each other, like what better way to control somebody than to make their fellow man control them for you. You know what I mean? So with PC culture, and now you got, like you said, it's a bunch of haters and they're reporting it. They're getting used to snitching on their neighbor. You know, they're getting used to snitching on people and going, "Oh, I don't like them. Get rid of them." They're getting us prepped for that shit. So what happens in real life, they're already used to it. They pull up in a truck and they throw you in it, they drag you out of there. People are used to going, well, he had wrong think. He was thinking wrong, so fuck him. Let him disappear. And that's what's happening, in my opinion.
I I I agree with that. Like back in before Hitler got installed, well not installed, but before Hitler won the popular vote of Germany to take over to become like the Nazi regime, they had a slow play of first first blaming a culture or a race or a peoples for everything wrong that's going on when really it wasn't those peoples. It was the world saying, fuck you, you started a world war and that led to hundreds of thousands and millions of people dying, so you're not going to be involved and we're just going to kick you out of everything. So Germany became super impoverished along with the rest of the world during the Great Depression that led up to World War II. And
Yes.
no one wanted to go back to wars, and Germany proved that by taking over Austria without even shooting a fucking bullet. They just rolled in the tanks and the troops and said, "We're here, give it to us, or you're all gonna die." And the rest of the world didn't even bat an eye. They're like, "All right, whatever. It's we don't want another war." And now in today's society, with the whole lead up, and this is something I've been talking about since like I think I was 20, so maybe the last like 10, 15 years, is people are going to be put in these little boxes, and these boxes, based on what you say and discuss on the internet and on your cell phone, there's an algorithm that picks up certain words and places you in a box, which makes you
Yeah.
monitored by your local law enforcement. And I didn't really buy into it until one time I was at a kiosk when I was selling T-Mobile phones in the mall up in up in Portland, and this dude, he had this black book, and it was like late at night. I think it was like 8 or 9 o'clock, right after we were closing, and he was buying a cell phone, and he's like, "I just need to make sure his SIM card's not like tracked or whatever. These are brand new SIM cards and never been used." And we're like, "Yeah, you fucking weirdo. Like, you want to buy the SIM card or not?" And so he comes back as we're closing, and he's like, "Hey man, this thing's tapped, or like this thing's not new, or like whatever." And so like we were like, "Dude, come on, man, like whatever, whatever." So we called the phone number that he gave us on each of our phones as me and my buddy working. My buddy's phone said it's not being tracked, and then when I called the number, it said my phone's being tracked, and then when I followed the prompts, it took me to T-Mobile's customer service. And then the guy was like, he worked in T-Mobile, but it was a small division inside T-Mobile where they monitor and track your phone calls and all of your usage. And when I was like, "Well, why would you need to do this?" And he's like, "Well, typically it's for like divorces or stuff like that." And I this was like early on. This is after 9/11, but this is still early on in the whole like uh, American
Kara.
government spying on the world.
Yes.
And for some reason my phone was being tapped and tracked, which I wasn't on probation at the time, so like I still don't know why. It was fucking weird. But after that, I believed this shit and started looking into it and like just really like starting to put everything together on like what's going on, why, and what's the outcome gonna be. Is there anything we can do to change it? Which today in 2021 September, we can't change it. Like it's all just taking course. And
Yeah.
what we've seen in the world is if you die quickly by consuming something, quickly meaning like a couple weeks or a day, then they're gonna pull that product off the market. But if it kills you slowly over time, like tobacco, alcohol, um, what else? What other? Oh, fast food, low grade
Yeah.
beef. Um, then they're not going to pull it from the market, and it's going to stay there, and it's just going to be heavily regulated, and you're going to be let know, and this may or may not kill you in the future, and it may or may not kill people next to you that are consuming it as well, or if you're consuming it next to other people that may or may not be harmed by it, then like that's your bad. And with the slow poison being allowed in today's society, it's it shows you the course that governments and not just governments, but like whoever the fuck is in power behind the scenes, it shows you what they're doing, because we have this slow play of Nixon being impeached for spying on his opponent, and then you have the mass monitoring and spying of the world by the US government. And my theory back in like 2000, I think it was like 2009, maybe 2010 when that shit was happening, up to now, like you're being placed in boxes. And in today's society, you get placed in like a cultural box. Are you a Black Lives Matter person? Are you a transgender person? Are you are you for critical race theory? Are you for abortions? And they put us in all these crazy categories so that the people fight against each other. And then while on the back end, whoever's in charge is putting other people like leaders and believers in different boxes, and who's easy to manipulate in different boxes so that they can see who is it that's going to be taken and rounded up, and who is it that's going to be left in place and be put as like a social worker, you feel? And it's
Yeah.
we're about at that time, man. I was saying 2030. I was predicting that's going to be the fall. After saying all that shit, I started hearing about other people talking about like a 10-year plan from 2020, where 2030 is going to be like the big shift, or what's that shit called? The people are calling that shit. It's like the
The,
Great Reset.
the Great Reset.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, it's the Great Reset, and they do have that the Operation Lockstep, and it's supposed to be finishing in like 2030, but we don't know how much of it got disrupted because of Trump. We don't know if like some of it got pushed faster or if it got slowed down a little bit, but it definitely got disrupted with Trump because if Hillary Clinton would have been, they just whether he's a part of it or not, you know what I mean. I think it still disrupted shit, and it made him have to fast track, or like maybe this virus thing. Let's say Hillary Clinton had got in, maybe the virus shit was all supposed to start sooner. You know what I mean? And
Uh-huh.
under her, without I mean, I think QAnon was a shitty thing. QAnon was like bad information to trap patriots into doing stupid shit, or giving people hope, so they think there's this hope, and then they just don't do anything about it. But at the same time, people started realizing that the people that run the world are big giant pieces of trash, but which they're calling what the Great Awakening. But I still don't know, like, if it was slowed down or sped up due to Trump, or if it would just he was put there on purpose to, because I mean the left was already radicalized. A lot of them were radicalized with social justice issues, and a lot of people on the right were just like, fuck you, whatever. It's not affecting me any. But maybe they needed Trump to come in and rile them up and get patriots all angry and upset. Because I mean, you can't have a civil war if only one side's mad, right?
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
So whatever the situation is, and then Operation Lockstep. It's like Operation Lockstep was about, the government, businesses, and the politicians, all, and the big pharma, all of them getting together in order to crack down and take away your freedoms, which we're giving them away. So it's hard to say take away, but Operation, and like right now we're looking at Operation Lockstep because the government clearly said we can't mandate this, can't mandate that, but we'll make the businesses do it. We'll make your jobs do it. We'll make, you know what I mean? And who's benefiting? The pharmaceuticals, you know what I mean? So it's like they're all in lockstep right now. So whatever plan is happening, it's in motion because they're all together.
So I don't know, and I don't know if our listeners know, but what's Operation Lockstep? Can you break that down?
I mean, it was documents by these world elites. So there's like the Davos Group. There's the World Economic Forum, which is like fucking Bill Gates and Klaus Schwab and George Soros, all these rich, the super elite, rich, wealthy, and they're basically the ones that call shots. As far as the research I've been able to do, which not saying any of this is 100% fact, but I've seen these people speak. You can go and find Klaus Schwab speaking at the World Economic Forum. You can go find, them predicting this shit, or they did a run, which was called what? They did a run where, like, in 2019, they were like, they did this whole. They all got together and they did this whole predictive shit where they're like, well, we're gonna have the virus, then we're using the virus for the shots and blah blah blah, and then but we need media to be on our side. We need to control media. We need to control social media, and then all of a sudden, then you have like Fauci already in 2017 or 18 saying you're gonna have a surprise breakout. Like, these people all spill the beans and they're all together. You know what I mean? So it's like, what do you call it? Like I said, Operation Lockstep. The businesses, the politicians, they're all in on this shit.
Well,
And
and
you
then you
have
got Littlefoot. She was there's a video recording that I
Lightfoot.
post.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Lightfoot.
that I put on. She's the mayor of Chicago.
Yeah, she literally said it out loud.
The New World Order and the
Said it out loud.
governments the governments that support the New World Order, and they're going to be installing people all the way from zoning, police, military, and government. Like
Yeah.
from the basic of government, which is like zoning, which are
Yep.
the when I want to open up a business and I need to go get a sign off by the zoning department. Um, that's like the most basic entry level of government that you can get, all the way up to like a fucking senator or like a state senator, which goes to Washington D.C. to propose um, uh, uh, bipartisan bills and legislation and constitution. Because like then everything goes to the Supreme Court, which Donald Trump threw what was like 300 different federal judges. Like, so changing legislation when it comes to the court system is going to be more difficult. But who the fuck knows? Because what if he was planted by it? And then it goes to saying like
Yeah.
I love Elon Musk and I support the businesses and the things that he talks about and what he does and what he says. And the man's very, very smart with what he does. And whether you're one of those people like fuck Elon, he doesn't do anything, he steals people's ideas, he's not an actual fucking guy that fucking Tesla was before you. Like, even if you're that guy, like, who the fuck cares? He's still in charge of like all these different companies and he helps build
Yeah.
upon the ideas. And the fact that I own a business, and having more than 7 employees is a pain in the ass. It's a pain in the ass. It's difficult. It's very, very difficult. And when you own multiple businesses and you're constantly getting emails, text messages, phone calls, and you have to talk to people, and then you have to have social life, like it is fucking hard. So like, what if what if all of us, because there's not enough resources come like 2040, 2050, there's not going to be enough water. The most basic thing that humans need to live is water, and there's not going to be enough water in 2040, 2050. The United Nations put out a statement and a projection saying a billion or so people are going to die because of dehydration, not enough water. So the people that own the governments right now, the people that have the reins of our government, what if they made a deal and it's like we're all going to live by participating, and Elon Musk is going to take us off this fucking rock and we're going to go to Mars and we're going to restart. And the people that are left here, like what if this is like the biblical fucking the prophecies, man? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, they're either self-fulfilled, they're either fulfilling them on purpose, or, it's kind of like, I kind of feel like the Bible could be like a lot like George Orwell, or George Orwell watched the Nazi regimes. He watched different regimes rise to power and crumble, and he understood the psychology behind it. And then he says, if technology was huge, this is how they do it. And then we read 1984, and you look at what's happening now, and you're like, God damn, that was a damn playbook. Like they're following this shit to a T. So it's like you can call 1984 prophecy, but what it was, I feel more than likely, is that he understood the human psychology. He understood, like the Stanford prison study, how people get drunk on power and they have to get more power, more power, more power. And then he was like, well, if technology gets this big, this is how they'll do it. Where I feel like kind of the Bible might have just been like somebody that was like, hey, they're going to try and take control of everything, and this is how they're going to do it. And, and now we're like, wow, I can't believe the Bible prophesied it, but it was probably just a genius psychological prediction. You know what I mean?
3,000 years
But
ago, though, you know?
yeah, that's a long time. But I mean, have we evolved as a species since then? You know what I mean?
No.
Are we still the same money hungry, selfish piece of shit that we were back then? You know what I mean? So
Seems like it.
nothing changed, nothing really changed, and they just, you know what I mean? So whether it's a prophecy or whether it's not, I mean, I think it's obvious that the shit is going down. I think it's obvious that they're taking full control. So it's like it's hard for me to also really fully, you know, like I said, I'm not really hard left. I'm not hard right. I'm not, you know what I mean? But it's hard for me to like really buy into climate change. You know, when it used to be global cooling, then it was global warming. Now it's just climate change. It's hard for me to buy into any of it because it's definitely a great instrument of control. You know what I mean? So when it comes to these pieces of shit controlling everybody, controlling the world, and wanting more control and power, how much of this stuff really is happening? You know what I mean? Or are they exaggerating? Kind of like if you look at the numbers of Corona, most of the numbers were skewed. Most
Oh,
of the
they're
numbers,
inflated.
you know what I
Those
mean,
numbers are
massively
inflated.
inflated.
Yeah.
So when it comes to climate change, it's hard for me to buy into it because it's like, well, they're just using that for a power grab. You know what
So
I mean? Like,
I I want to touch on the climate change, but just for the listeners that don't know, so with the inflation of the COVID numbers, if you get hit by a truck and you had COVID or you were around somebody that had COVID, you died from COVID.
yes,
If you got stabbed or if you got shot, if you got bit by a shark and bled out while at the hospital on life support, you died from COVID if you had COVID or if you were around somebody
yes,
that had COVID within 2 weeks.
yes,
And
yep,
that's dramatically inflated the numbers. And then the reason that those numbers were inflated in the fucking first place, the United States government gave a commission of at least, I think it was what, $15,000 at least, to say that somebody to report that somebody died from COVID. And if they're put on
yes.
an incubator or what is it, the thing that goes in your lungs that gives you air?
Yeah, and those things blow your fucking lungs out, man.
Yep.
Those aren't even helping.
It was like I think, don't quote me, but you can look it up. I think it was a $45,000 bonus that
It was a lot.
the hospitals got per person that was put
Yes.
on a ventilator.
And,
45 racks just to put someone on a ventilator.
and it's all provable. It's all provable, but a lot of people don't want to believe it because they want to say, well, doc.
Wait, your audio's gone. Give us a quick moment. We will be back with the audio. I really want Joe King here in person. That would be a lot of fun. Man, what a crazy time to live. You guys, we're the luckiest sons of bitches. There's some of y'all that are like, fuck you, I'm not going to listen to this. That's cool. You don't have to. You can have your head in the sand and you can pull it out and you'll see what the fuck's going on for what it is at the time of, whether you're prepared or not. It might be a little shock, or you might feel stupid, or you might feel okay with it because you're just going to go on with status quo and realize there's nothing you can do. But with me, I don't want to get round up in the middle of the fucking night and dumped off in Australia. And I really wanted to have this conversation with Joe King on here because we were talking about this a little bit earlier, and my thoughts are, what if what if Australia is like the grounds where the camps are getting built, right? And it is what it is right now. Hold on, Joe King's calling. Give me a second. One second. All right, sorry about that. Joe, his alarm went off, which stopped his phone from streaming and his audio. And so we're gonna continue. He had to go pick up his kiddos. Um, so we're gonna continue a part two with Joe King. If you don't already follow Joe King on Instagram, you need to. His glass is phenomenal. If you like bongs and dab rigs and like really different shit, Joe King 3.0 on Instagram. Go give him a follow. He's been canceled once completely off of the IG. Poor guy. But like, so my theory, just to finish off where we were going, and the next conversation, hopefully, we'll be able to have Joe King in person, so we can get it clear. But is where I was going with that is Australia. My belief is Australia is going to be where the people that do not agree with the New World Order, which Littlefoot, the mayor of Chicago, she already openly spoke about it. if you disagree with the New World Order, my belief, my opinion, my prophecy, whatever. I fucking pray to God it doesn't happen. But if it does, I said it. Australia is where you're going to be getting took. You're going to be taken in the middle of the night, during the day, out of your car, out of your business. You're going to get arrested, and you're going to get your ass shipped to Australia without knowing you're in Australia. This might or might not happen during the internet blackout that's going to last anywhere from 1 to 12 months. The internet blackout will last 1 to 12 months from quote unquote a solar flare. And if you heard this during the solar flare, I don't fucking know how, because supposedly there's supposed to be a blackout. If you heard it before or after, fuck, that sucks. Let's say it doesn't happen, right? But whatever. So my theory is there's going to be a solar blackout. During that solar blackout, there's going to be a bunch of fucking shit that goes on. And the only way we're going to get our news is by the television, because our cell phones is going to be worthless. They ain't going to work, okay? Nothing will connect to the internet. So if you have a point of sale, credit card machines, none of that's going to work. All your money is going to be in the bank. And then you can't even pull your money out of the bank because none of that's going to work. There's going to be no internet infrastructure, quote unquote, for the consumer, the average person. Just your average citizen is going to get fucked. So during that time of fiasco and fucking bullshit, no one's going to have money to do nothing. A lot of businesses already, which is what they've seen, aren't going to be able to take money because there's going to be no money to take and no money to give back. Because banks aren't going to be able to work on that structure, you feel, because everyone's already migrated. So you can look deeper into that and see how that works on like a more infrastructure scale of like how banks operate and what's their backup for a major outage that lasts months to years. Now, let's say that does happen, and it's all just theory, conspiracy, what the fuck ever you want to call it. It's my brain just thinking different scenarios. It would make a great movie, right? You know what I'm saying? So let's say that does happen. Bam! I get took. You get took. A lot of people get took during the day, the night, at work, at dinner, breakfast, whatever. Without even knowing where we're going, we get locked up, we get thrown into a prison cell, and then we get flown to Australia. And in Australia, we're thrown inside these camps. And then in these camps, they're work camps, they're prison camps, they're rehabilitation camps, they're death camps, whatever kind of camps they are, they're fucking camps. And just your average citizens that don't bend backwards for the New World Order, which Littlefoot, a mayor of the United States, the state of Chicago, or the city of Chicago of Illinois, she openly stated this, that they're working for the New World Order. And I don't know when the video was released. I asked for the release date and the date that it was filmed and uploaded. I don't have that information. So it could be old or it could be new. I don't know. But as what I am saying is, what if we all get taken to Australia, the world goes to war, whatever happens with the world, or China just conquers everyone? Because like we believe that we're currently in World War III with the amount of hacks of infrastructure, hospitals, banks. When a company gets DDoS, that shuts down the servers, so people can't access those servers. The people that initiated the DDoS allows those people to go into the backdoor systems because they bypass the security, and then the DDoS is still going, so they can plant seeds of code and time frames. So there can be a time bomb somewhere in these servers throughout the world. There's Visa and MasterCard actually shut down for an entire Saturday last month. I believe it was last month or the month before. They completely shut down, so you couldn't use PIN transactions. You can only use credit transactions. We have a store called Winco. Winco is a Northwestern grocery chain. You can't run credit card transactions. So if someone was buying food for their 9 kids or 3 kids or just themselves, and they're trying to type in their PIN, it declined them. It declined the card. So if you had $100 worth of food, $1,000 worth of food, you can't run credit at Winco. And there's a lot of stores that are like that, where you have to do PIN only, not credit. Most stores like Best Buy, My Business, other businesses only run credit transactions. Now, if the whole infrastructure of the internet shuts down for the main consumer, just your average citizen, just think what the fuck is going to happen? So many people rely on these digital addictions. My belief with social, what's it called? The social credit system. I believe if there is an internet shutdown, the social credit system is going to take place when the internet comes back up. And that's the only time the internet will come back up, is once the social credit system is initiated and fiat currency is no longer there. During that time, instead of going to work and paying your bills and doing whatever and having debt, instead it is, thank you so much for purchasing from a business that's LGBTQ positive. Here's an extra $25 in your bank account. And then if you shop at a business that on the media or social media or whatever in the mainstream media is someone says something negative about LGBTQ, or let's say your cell phone registers you saying, man, that's fucking gay. Because you said that's fucking gay, your business now gets on a docket in a box that says every time a customer shops at your business, they're getting a message that says, for shopping at this business, your social credit score just went down 70 points. In order to redeem that 70 points, you have to pay a certain dollars amount of money, or you have to go participate at these LGBTQ events for 90 hours in the next 3 months in order to redeem your 70 social credit points. And if you get below a certain amount of points, you're not going to be able to fly. You're not going to be able to own a car. You're not going to be able to rent a car, lease a car, have a cell phone, own a business, rent an apartment, buy, like, holy shit. And once you hit a certain amount, you go into a rehabilitation camp. It's like prison, just for having the free will to go shop somewhere. That, I believe, is coming, because that is already happening in China. And China has proven they are the leaders of the no longer free world. And it's going to take years for you to see that I'm right. I love you guys. Thank you so much for coming in today. I wish you a great night, a great evening, and a beautiful ass motherfucking successful morning. Go out there and put your best foot forward and be the shit. Lead the world in the true events of freedom. Let me tell you, stay human, motherfucker.